place existed. The Athenians called it the Acropolis. Free expression, ethics, art, philosophy. The Acropolis heralded the democracy. But if I told you the Acropolis has returned. Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.
I'm an American. I like my cars fast and my burgers delicious. But what I also like is the government to get a warrant before it violates my rights. And that's why I trust NordVPN. NordVPN is one of the most affordable VPNs out there with a wide listing range of features, including features that help boost your computer's overall speed and performance, which with the internet here, God knows, not only do I need and use, but the thing is, there is a good chance that you both need and could use a VPN yourself. So why not help the channel out? Click the affiliate link down below in the description and get yourself one of the best VPNs out there at the most affordable price. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the show. What I got behind me is a new setup, and while I'm not going to change it, I will slowly augment it over time. And yes, that doesn't make any sense. Welcome back to the Trevor Report. Let us begin. We have this from the Times Co. UK. Azov Battalion drops neo-Nazi symbol exploited by Russian propagandists. Yes, you heard that right. The Azov Battalion has, I guess depending on your politics, downgraded or upgraded to former Nazis, which still bad, but anyway, let's see how they characterize it. The Azov Battalion has removed a neo-Nazi symbol from its insignia that has helped perpetuate Russian propaganda about Ukraine being in the grip of far-right nationalism. First off, Nazism, National Socialism, is not right-wing. Neo-Nazism is kind of a right-wing thing, but only in like this weird this weird aesthetic thing, you know. But it's still swords. That's a far-right symbol or whatever. Basically, the Azov Battalion, I've covered this before. All previous reports linked down below in the description. But they weren't just... Okay, first off, the United Nations, on their own Twitter account, could not post a single image of someone in the Azov Battalion that did not have the black sun as just part of their uniform. Right? Like, as something they added to it. They didn't need to have the black sun on their uniform. It's not a requirement. They just had the black sun pin, okay? And if you don't know what a black sun is, it is a star made out of swastikas, okay? And then, to top that all off, they had a Wolfenspiegel or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. My German is terrible. But it's a neo-Nazi symbol, and they took it off and they swapped it for swords because they're trying to look less right-wing. Okay. Also, National Socialism is not right-wing. I've already covered this over and over again. All previous reports linked down below in the description, as always. But another announcement, I'm going to stop uploading on BitChute because I hate BitChute. Yeah, so anyway, at the unveiling of a new special forces unit in Kar, I'm gonna pronounce all of these things terribly, and if you think that's bad, I don't care. In Kharkiv, patches handed to soldiers did not feature the
Wolfensangel or whatever, a medieval German symbol that was adopted by the Nazis, which has been used by the battalion since 2014. Instead, they featured a golden trident, the Ukrainian national symbol worn by other regiments, on the same principles and ideological basis as the legendary Azov regiment. We form new divisions every day. They become more numerous and professional. Maksim Zahorin, a Azov commander, said at the ceremony on Sunday, and it goes further, but yeah, like there's. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the culture in Ukraine. All right, when Ukraine was and Ukrainians fell victim more often than not to being shipped off to Siberia when they disobeyed the Soviet Union, as they were. So naturally, they didn't like Marxist-Leninism too much. So what they did was they adopted the exact same ideology in the form of National Socialism to be against the people that did those terrible things to them. I guess, I don't know, but like, here's the thing. Ukraine has like an actual Nazi problem the way the United States has a pedophile problem, a groomer problem. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I really don't care about the conflict in Russia and Ukraine. Whatever happens, I hope it's the best possible thing that could have happened for all parties. I guess I just don't see this as something the U.S. should get involved in, but we are the nanny state, and we have to be the nanny state for everyone, apparently. Anyway, moving on. So, Ron Paul, I confuse him for whatever reason, has this podcast, I guess, called maybe it's just a show called The Liberty Report. And it's pretty good. It's not necessarily the politics I'm in. Truthfully, I'm moving further and further away from the Enlightenment the more I look into its proceeds, as it were, its byproducts. Yeah, but Ron Paul is very much a part of the Ayn Rand side of things. All right, and Ayn Rand wrote this book called Atlas Shrugged, and it's basically a storybook, the way Plato's Republic is a storybook, and it basically, through a story, details Ayn Rand's philosophy, basically, which she coins as rational selfishness. People are going to be selfish, right? So you may as well allow people to be selfish in order to make society better. Because when you take on ethical agendas and force that on to people, then you end up, from a material perspective, making the lives worse for everyone. The Biden administration is, if you haven't read the book, basically the Biden administration does to the country what it's currently doing to the country, and then all the people who know how to make things just leave and they go somewhere else and they get off the US dollar and go back on the gold standard and trade in gold. Like they go to like the golden gold standard, right? That's basically Atlas Shrugged. Now, I just skipped like 1,000 pages. It's a huge book. It's bigger than the Bible. I could take 3 Bibles, put it up together, and Atlas Shrugged would still be bigger. All right, but here's the thing. Ayn Rand is basically what I would call, as someone who's moving outside of the Enlightenment. I don't know where my politics are lining up, but that's what I call it. I'm not in the Enlightenment paradigm. All right, but or at least I'm coming to that anyway. But what I've also noticed is that Ayn Rand and Marxists and Karl Marx, they're the same thing. They're the same failed abortion of an ideology. That's one of my favorite terms, by the way, failed abortion. But anyway, this is a woman, or I think it's one of those men that get plastic surgery and put on a dress and demand you call them, and they demand you address them properly because they're your feudal lords or whatever. But anyway, so she, whatever, not important, is a Marxist, and I highly recommend you watch this video. It's a 36-minute video where she details something that I think is stupid. What she basically gets at it in this video is that how do I want to put this, because I don't want to like put words in her mouth, but she's basically saying the reasons, right? Reason, key word there, that the Islamic terrorists are engaging in Islamic terrorism is because of their material conditions. If they just had a McDonald's and they had an Xbox and they had all the stuff and they had running water and electricity, blah 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 blah, they would be engaging in less and less Islamic terrorism. Okay, and the reason I gotta address my feudal lord properly here, right? The reason she is wrong is fundamentally because they're not doing this because of some abstract nonsense of their material conditions. Okay, the people there, they have food, water, and shelter. Okay, what they have over there that I guess someone who is a product of the Enlightenment wouldn't have, okay, is a byproduct of the Enlightenment, an unfortunate one at that, wouldn't have, okay, is a huge prominence of religion. That's what the Islamic countries have, okay? And I'm saying this as an atheist, or I guess an atheist for God. And no, I don't know what that means. But what I'm essentially getting at is she's all like, oh, the material conditions of the Islamic terrorists. If their material conditions would be better, then they would stop engaging in Islamic terrorism. Maybe some of them would, okay, but there's no rationale for it. It's not a product of reason. Okay, the reason the Islamic terrorists do the Islamic terrorism and stuff, I know this is going to be a big surprise, but it's because their holy book tells them to do it. Why did the Christians engage in like the Crusades and stuff, man? It's because Deus Vult. All right, I'm going to use ecclesiastic Latin for that one because that's more accurate for the time for that. Okay, why do the Islamic terrorists in the modern era and in basically every single era, right? It's because Allahu Akbar, okay? It's because God is great, okay? It's literally, holy book tells us to do thing, so we do the thing, okay? And the point I'm trying to get at, and it's the same thing when they're like, oh, woke capitalism is an economic disaster, says Ron Paul over at the Liberty Port. Like, Ron, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, they know this. They just don't care, okay? What we call wokeness, okay, is a secular Catholicism, okay? The people who consider themselves woke cannot comprehend that things cannot be completely 100% fair, okay, in all times and all places. It's why they use the term equity instead of equality, and why they use the term equality as a dog whistle for equity when they use the word equality, okay? It's because they cannot handle it when some people have more and other people have less. And they view, because they are secular Catholics, the people who have more as people with a form of original sin. You might call this whiteness. And this is what Ron Paul doesn't understand, because ultimately his belief system is a byproduct of the Enlightenment. He has the Ayn Rand rational selfishness view, and it's this same enlightened stupidity. Bear with me, okay? It's the same enlightened stupidity that permeates everything that, like, everything as part of the Enlightenment, okay? They all like hyperfixate on things for literally no reason. I'm saying this as someone who's definitely not hyperfixating on anything. Trust me, bro. But they're just wrong, okay? Like Ron Paul is basically in this thing. He's basically he assumes that the people who are doing this aren't doing this on purpose. They're doing this on purpose. They are secular Catholics engaging in a crusade. Okay? They don't care about economics. Okay? You care about economics because you are a product of the Enlightenment. You care about limited government because you care about a specifically limited and decentralized government because you are a product of the Enlightenment, okay? And people whose philosophies are just one thing, right? Like the lady at Philosophy Tube, okay? She's just a Marxist. Ron Paul over on Ron Paul's Liberty Report, okay? He is what do they call them? What do they call themselves? I don't think they call themselves rationalists. I forget what the people who adhere to Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. I forget what they call themselves. I'm drawing a blank on that, but it's stupid, right? And the reason it's stupid is because it's incomplete. Okay, you cannot have a purely Enlightenment view of the world, specifically a purely byproduct of the Enlightenment view in the world. Okay, all ideologies, all of them, get something about reality right and some things about reality wrong. Now, there are things like, I don't know, Satan worshippers. They have like 99.99999999999 etc. % wrong about basically everything, right? But there's this infinitesimally small, tiny fraction of something that they get right. All right, if Satanists say that, humans exist, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to agree with a Satanist on that one, unfortunately, right? But when a Satanist says, let's just use a hypothetical. Let's see. If the material conditions were better in the Islamic world, then there would be less Islamic terrorism. Okay, the Islamic, it's not a land full of savages, by the way, Philosophy Tube. Like, they have infrastructure, they have cities, they have, I don't want to say equal rights for women. They don't have that. But look, you get the point. Hopefully, all right. I do have to move on. Now, in the previous Trevor report, I covered basically how the people who are the real women, right, need to create a Gramscian war of position. That was the joke, where we basically say, hey, you know what? Men too are also victims of domestic violence. Wow, much shock. It's very shocking, and I'm very shook. But I'm very serious. We do need to start a men to movement. Okay, domestic violence is bad. Simple as. But anyway, long story short, with the byproducts, as it were, of the Johnny Depp verdict, right, winning in all 3 cases in the United States, and winning a defamation case in the United States against a celebrity and the corporate press is tough as hell. Is tough as hell. You basically gotta like either catch them a recording admitting that they lied that they're lying on purpose, right? Or you got to be like an actual mind reader in order to win, all right? But that did not stop Johnny Depp from winning because, well, you know, he had the recordings, he had the receipts, as it were. But Kyle Rittenhouse says he's inspired by Johnny Depp's verdict to file defamation suits against those who called him a murderer. Which, yeah, if I exercised my Second Amendment right and protected myself and my community from a bunch of pseudo-benevolent insurrectionary race radicals and or communists who are violently pillaging my community, well, But anyway, let's continue. Kyle Rittenhouse says Johnny Depp's legal victory is fueling him to sue Mark Zuckerberg and several others. Rittenhouse says he is preparing to file defamation suits against those who called him a murderer and a white supremacist. By the way, CBS, you're not very woke. Woke people capitalize their races. Because they're secular Catholics and a bunch of insane, disgusting people. Rittenhouse's lawyer says Zuckerberg is singled out because of Facebook's designation of the Kenosha shooting as a mass murder incident, which was a lie and not true. On August 25th, 2020, 2 nights after police shot and wounded Jacob Blake, Rittenhouse shot 3 men amid civil unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He killed Anthony Huber and Joseph Rosenbaum and wounded Gage Grosskreutz in the arm. So basically, they're skipping a huge amount of detail in this article. You forgot the targeted harassment campaigns that deprived people of equal access to the public square, which is something that this great republic promised them. But here's the thing. The corporate press is going to be the corporate press, which is essentially the enemy of humanity, which is why Kyle Rittenhouse is going to pull a Project Veritas, okay? Project Truth. That's what Veritas means, but I'm sure people know that. He's starting the Media Accountability Project, and you should go to it as soon as this Trevor report is over. I'm gonna chip in a few bucks myself, but yeah. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent, and that's power. There's a quote from Malcolm X at the top, a black nationalist. I don't know why you would quote a black nationalist when you were a victim of black nationalist terrorism, Kyle Rittenhouse, but whatever, way to go. Good for you starting the Media Accountability Project. I hope it goes well, and I hope you win because, well, funny enough, you deserve to win, and I like to see justice follow through because, well, Nicomedian ethics. Anyway, so let's continue. The hoes are mad. Hoes are mad. Influencers frustrated by Instagram's filter ban for Texans. The ban on augmented reality filters for Texas comes after Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit accusing the platform of using facial recognition technology. Yes, that's how these filters work. Why are the people in law so technologically illiterate? Jesus. Okay, whatever. If you hopped on Instagram yesterday and couldn't find your favorite filter, you may have thought it was a glitch, but it's not an error. Hoes are mad. Hoes be mad. Anyway, in fact, those living in Texas can't access them at all, at least for now. Okay. But look, we could continue with the article, but here's the
Bush
thing.
Admitted to the hospital near his
if you're
summer.
a woman, the autoplay was playing right there. I am so sorry for that. But anyway, if you're a woman and you use these Instagram filters, right? As a guy who's currently single, don't do that, right? Because here's the thing. I don't know if you're lying to me when you're using these filters, because these filters make people look fake. They make everyone look fake. They make me look fake. I haven't used a filter, but if I did use a filter, it'd make me look pretty fake, bro. So basically, I'm gonna start this movement, right? Everyone, for the love of God, stop using a filter. Just in general. Because, just be honest, right? Just be honest. Tell you what. If women, I'll make a deal with all of the women on behalf of all men, right? If all of the women on the planet stop wearing makeup and stop using Instagram filters, all men will stop getting tans. We're not going to stop going to the gym. We don't we're not trying to get our abs chiseled because it makes you attracted to us. We know you don't like chiseled abs, right? We know that women prefer glorious dad bods such as myself, right? We know you don't prefer that. So for us, we'll continue to get our chiseled abs. But women gotta stop wearing the makeups and stop using the Instagram filters, and we'll stop getting tans. Some to think about. Win-win for everyone, right? No, I'm not going to shave my beard, and I know that my beard is like a woman's makeup, like it's equally cheating. But I'm going to keep the beard, But everyone's going to be everyone's just going to be a bit more honest with each other, and the hoes will stop getting as mad because there won't really be anything for the hoes to get mad about. But anyway, let us continue with the final segment. You guys should really go to theacropolisnews.com. Okay, it's my website. It's an awesome website. It's a fantastic website. It's a brilliant website. It's a beautiful website. I made the website myself, and for the things I couldn't do myself, aka like the vast majority of the back end of the site, and kind of out of myself there. Look, it's awesome. Check it out. All right, it will be the first link under segment 5. You'll also be able to find it under the sponsors. Okay, I wrote this essay recently, and it's available on theacropolisnews.com, related to the sort of basically I break down the virtue aesthetics for stories in general, but for this I did it through the lens of Back to the Future and time travel more generally. But I basically wrote this essay about basically why people engage in stories, and it is basically for what I define specifically as aesthetic pleasure. Okay, and if you want to know more about that, you could just go to theacropolisnews.com and sign up for a membership, because the $5. Okay, here's how the economics work on the site, right? The $10 subscription, right, is access to my personal Patreon, which is the $5 just the member, right? But if you subscribe to a Karakus, you will be paying the wage of a journalist that I seek to hire in the near future. So do check that out. But here's the thing. Let me go over to this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And if you pay for the $5 subscription, you'll also get access to a premium podcast called the American Karakus podcast over on theacropolisnews.com. It's the only place it's available. Let me go to culture real quick, and let me go to here it is. I'm writing a full academic series, an entire open treatise where I create the sort of integrationist alternative to critical race theory. I'm trying to give integrationists the means of just going at it full speed, not nonstop. Okay. And part 1's available. Part one is free. It's 2,600 something words, maybe 2,400 words, something like that. And the next part is going to be just as long. This is going to be by the end of it approximately a 40, 50, maybe 60 page book or something along those lines. I've actually never written a book before, so I actually don't know. But it's basically, I'm trying to create the sort of, because here's the thing with critical race theory. They are radicals. And what the integrationists need to do is they need to recognize that the critical race theorists, okay, what more generally we call wokeness, okay, they are engaging in acts of colonization, or as Kimberly Crenshaw puts it, a Gramscian war of position. But anyway, in part 1, I outline how critical race theory is in school. Okay, the axiomatic presuppositions of critical race theory have been in school for a long time. And also, I have my own personal experiences with the axiomatic presuppositions of critical race theory in high school, through consecutive years of high school. Okay, and I tell 2 stories, not the several dozen stories that I have. But I go into basically the first time I was ever accused of having white privilege and stuff in here. Anyway, the first part's free. You can go check out the next part. Anyway, now that shill is over, okay? Guatemala, okay? not Guatemala. Sorry. Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich in Yuma County, Arizona. Attorney General Mark Brnovich announced that Guillermina Fuentes of San Luis pleaded guilty on Thursday to one count of ballot abuse, a Class 6 felony, for her role in the August 2020 primary election ballot harvesting scheme, where early ballots from other votes were collected and deposited into a ballot box on primary election day. In December 2020, Fuentes and Alma, I can't tell which version of Spanish that is, so I'm just going to skip that last name, also of San Luis, were both indicted for one count of ballot abuse, also known as ballot harvesting, in March 2022. Arizona law only provides for a family member, household member, or caregiver of the voter collected or unvoted early ballots from another person. Under Arizona law, harvesting is a Class 6 felony. Fuentes admitted that she, quote, knowingly collected ballots from another person, and those ballots belonged to individuals for whom I am not a family member, household, caregiver, end quote. Fuentes further admitted that the early ballots were later provided to Alma Hieres. Fuentes is scheduled to be back in court for sentencing on the 30th of June 2022, and Hieres on the 16th of June 2022. Basically, I do put my stuff on YouTube now, unfortunately, so I am obligated to say this. The 2020 presidential election was the most secure election in the entirety of human history. I will, for providing any kind of information that insinuates otherwise, I'm going to donate my kidney to one of my betters or whatever, and stuff. And I apologize to my feudal lords for insinuating wrongthink and stuff. Anyway, so there's this video where our betters, as it were, is basically openly and brazenly advocating to end the Republic in order to do what he wants with things and stuff. So let's just get into it, because may as well end on a low note, because this video is going out on a Monday, and if you're watching a political video on Monday, it's your fault. I say this as someone who's not recording this on a Saturday night. Honestly, if you're enjoying your Monday, good for you. I'm miserable. I'm miserable right now. Nothing but bad news today. Well, I mean, there was some good news in the middle, but for the most part,
can't let you get away.
Oh, oops! Didn't mean to do that.
Away with this anymore. Enough is enough. Enough of you telling us that school shootings are a fact of life, when every other country like ours has virtually ended it. Enough of you blaming mental illness and then defunding mental health care in this country. Enough of your thoughts and prayers. Enough. You will not stop us from advancing the protecting our kids.
What he's saying is definitely not scripted in any way whatsoever. This is definitely not a publicity stunt of some kind, and everything he's talking about will obviously happen, because it's just sitting
Kids Act
do
today. You will not stop us from passing it in the House next week, and you will not stop us there. If the filibuster obstructs us, we will abolish it. If the Supreme Court objects, we will expand it, and we will not rest until we have taken weapons of war out of circulation in our communities.
Every weapon is a weapon of war. My bare fists are weapons of war. Okay? My fingers are a weapon of war. My nose is a weapon of war. My eyes are a weapon of war. Your fingers, nose, and eyes are a weapon of war. This is a nonsense point. I don't understand why they think it's like, we need to keep weapons of war out of people's hands. We need to keep weapons of war off the streets. You're the weapon of war they want to take off the street, just like how you're the carbon they want to reduce. All right, let's be perfectly clear about that. But what they're saying, if we don't get our way, we are going to purposefully wring the Republic into the ground and waterboard it. And if you exercise your Second Amendment right to stop us from doing that, you're a terrible person, which I love being lectured by terrible people about how much of a terrible person that I am. But anyway, in the meantime, my name is Trevor Brown. You should watch the Trevor Report. Look, I say this at the end of every video, so I'm going to do it again. Please click the Linktree down below that I was forced to make because Linktree banned my previous Linktree for opposing black nationalism. So I made my new one down below in the description.
The Trevor Report is sponsored by Acropolis News Network, the world's first fully independent media organization powered by peer-to-peer advertising, Liberty platforms, and cryptocurrency. On Acropolis, on theacropolisnews.com, we have a different standard of journalism. We adhere to the Nicomedean ethics as outlined by Aristotle, and unlike a traditional show, what we have at Acropolis News Network is a decentralized network of fully independent online content creators. You can go to where to watch/chat/support over on theacropolisnews.com, where we have a bunch of information where you can contact Acropolis News Network and even engage with the wider audience of the Acropolis. And we also have a premium subscription, and with this premium subscription you can get access to a ton of cool features. Cool features like an entire series where not only do I break down the best arguments of critical race theory, I also go over how to defeat those arguments and a counter narrative specifically for integrationists in order to counter the cultural colonization that critical race theorists engage in. I also have this article that I just put out there where it's basically I analyze time travel as a concept, and I go through and I draw on Michael Oakeshott and Aristotle in order to navigate a way through determining the validity of time travel without going into the science of it, and actually going into why going into the science of it is kind of pointless. So if you want to check those out, do get a premium subscription, and in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the show.
Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.
All of you brilliant viewers out there, my name is Trevor Brown. I am the editor-in-chief of Acropolis News Network because I can give myself whatever name and title I want because I own it. You could go to theacropolisnews.com, or you could go to ThisJustTrevor on whatever Liberty platform is your choice. You know, except for the ones I'm not on because I haven't seen them pretty much.
Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.